The Mind Buzz, now partnered with My Grito Industries.
This podcast episode of The Mind Buzz is brought to you by House of Chingazos. House of Chingazos is a Latino-owned online store that speaks to Latino culture and Latino experience. I love House of Chingazos because I like t-shirts that fit great and are comfortable to wear. I wear them on the podcast and to the carne asadas. Click the affiliate link in the show description and use promo code The Mind Buzz. That's THEMINDBUZZ to receive 10% off your entire purchase. The cash saved will go directly to the Mind Buzz podcast to help us do what we do best, and that's bringing you more Mind Buzz content. Click the link in the show description for more. The Mind Buzz is powered by Mind Buzz Media. Mind Buzz Media is an on-site video and audio podcast production company. Have you ever thought about starting your own video and audio podcast? Or do you have an existing podcast that you want to take to the next level? Mind Buzz Media brings a professional podcast studio to you. Visit mindbuzz.org for more.
The Mind Buzz Podcast.
3, 2, 1. Boom! What is up, people of the universe and globe around, whether it's flat or not? Welcome back to another podcast of the Mind Buzz. Hey. My name is Gil, and working alongside of me in the back, working the ones and twos, Amber. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you have a good nap today?
I didn't nap today.
No?
No.
Why not?
Because I was busy. I don't know. I didn't.
You sound so convincing.
I was busy.
It made me think a lot of what Super Steve said about napping as a child. Like, he said he didn't nap very much as a child. I didn't nap as a child. I just thought about napping in general.
I think there's nothing wrong with napping. I think there's even like studies done about people that nap and being like smarter and more recharged and kind of centered, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
No, it does make sense.
I mean, I think I just listen to my body. If my body says, hey, you know what? I'm tired. I got to take a little nap. Who am I to deprive myself?
Right. I think we covered it in that episode about I started napping when I had my first office job. And that was great because I would eat my lunch for 30 minutes and then the next 30 minutes I would nap and then clock in and then take a nap again.
Nap for another hour until you're off.
Right. But that's what I did as far as napping goes. But yeah, but don't sleep on us. Anyways, you have a My Grito Weekly for today, right?
Sure do.
Let's roll on through with that My Grito Weekly. And yes, our manager is a cat.
Yes, he is. So 3LH will be at the Tiki Bar and the OC on January 26th. Ooh, I jumped over one. Ear Ringers will be performing at the Haven in Pomona on January 9th.
P-Town.
Yeah. La Rosa Noir will be at the Empty Bottle in Chicago on January 28th. The Paranoias and Profesor Galactico will be performing at the Paramount on January 27th. Rundown Creeps recently released the new music video that you can find on YouTube or the link in their Instagram bio. Also, the Paranoias will be releasing new music videos shortly, so stay tuned for that. I can't wait to see what it looks like.
What date is that coming out?
It just says they're releasing new music.
They're releasing new music. Keep watching them.
But we should see
when.
But yeah, for more details on these shows and their video, go to the artist's Instagram, go support them, go show some love, go listen to some new music. And yeah.
Cool. Did you plug in the vinyls at mygrito.net?
Oh, yeah. You can, I kind of jumped over that one. Not on purpose, Cat Boss. But you can, if you like any of these artists, their vinyls are available on mygrito.net. So go over there and check it out and get yourself some vinyls.
Boom. That's it. And I do have a date coming up the first week of February. I will have that. Check out my buzz on Instagram or my personal page at GilbillyDelic. Somewhere in Hollywood. I don't have all the details yet, but I'm going to be performing live in Hollywood. So keep watching out for that. Anything else?
No.
What about any of our events that we'll touch on this week? Nothing this weekend, right?
Nothing this weekend,
Okay.
no. So for February, definitely. So we might have some stuff lined up to announce for next week.
We have a lot of stuff in February. I'm super stoked about that. But without further ado, let's get into today's guest, Mr. Johnny Gold. He is a comedian. He performs all around Southern California. He's performed at the Lap Factory, Chatterbox, and let's hear it from him. Johnny Gold, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. This is awesome. I was just on this real popular podcast called The Comedy Bureau, and he did it outside, and it was horrible.
Whoa.
And the mic cord was going in and out, and this guy is so popular in Hollywood. Then when he gets ready to release it, he goes, look, the audio didn't come through. It was sketchy. And I'm like, I drove all the way to Echo Park for your cheap ass to put me on a podcast. And I had said some just horrible things about people too. It was awesome. And it was like, hello, and, we're talking about this. And then all of a sudden be silent. And then you'd hear me say something again, which I was mad. Plus I spent a lot of money down there. Gas, parking,
Right.
food.
Echo Park?
Los Feliz, I guess.
Uh-huh.
So there, you've been down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we promise
think.
that your episode will.
I know. I love it. I've
Sound
never done a
good
video
and look
podcast.
good.
I'm scared to look at myself. It's like, God.
Yeah, your audio is good. You will be all over YouTube for everybody to watch you and listen to you.
Yay. I'm fantastic. Thank you for
And you can
having
talk
me.
all the shit you want on here, and it'll be broadcast.
Oh, I brought some shit too. Yeah, and it's so professional. This guy had me outside. I go, why don't we go inside? And there was like people walking by looking at us, and like one guy was drooling on me.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was a person that was homeless,
Oh.
which is fine. I don't care. But,
Yeah.
you know, when we're trying to talk, I go, can we go inside the restaurant? He didn't want to do it. Jay Kroger Comedy Bureau. Have you ever heard of the Comedy Bureau?
No.
Yeah, he lists all where all the mics are.
Oh, okay,
And,
cool.
Yeah, and he also is the most pretentious person that's ever been done comedy that barely really does comedy, which is kind of a paradox.
Yeah, how does that work
he
out?
is. Listen, I always think I'm the meanest. But
Yeah.
man, this guy goes to another level.
Really?
Yeah, he actually is the curator for the Hyperion Theater in L.A. It's a 75-seat theater, but we're not here to talk about him. We're here to talk about me.
So how long have you been doing comedy, Johnny?
Since around 2005.
Yeah?
Yeah, I started, but then I never got up because I started in the black rooms. I hate to say black rooms, but you know, it's just that's where I started. Where I found
What city is that?
it was like in L.A.
Oh, okay.
It was Hollywood adjacent, like the 10 freeway in Washington.
Okay.
I started there, but I was so bad I couldn't get up, so I just really went up once every 6 months. You know how you're just starting out, right? So
Yeah.
you know how when you just start out. Depending, I mean, you could be fantastic, but I wasn't, so I got deterred very easily. I would stop and I'd get stage fright. And then eventually when I started doing comedy in Long Beach and Silver Lake and some other areas, I gained my confidence.
Do you think because of the change of audience or the change of venue helped you out a little bit?
It was a it was a club where they booked like Cat Williams and
Okay.
all these people, Lunel from the Borat movies. But they gave me a chance, but I just wasn't. I didn't feel good. I mean, your first several years doing comedy, depending on how you seriously want to take it, it depends on how much you want to go at it. Some people go at it right away, and then in 5 years they're fantastic, or at least they think they are. But it takes a long time.
Yeah.
It really does. You could either do this for a hobby or professional. I believe I'm a professional comic that is broke because I don't get paid a lot. Like I'm a local.
Add that up. I'm like,
Well, you'll have to check the comedy basket I have at home, I guess. Like I got passed at the Laugh Factory, kind of. I did the audition through San Diego, and they paid me like for featuring $150 here and there. But I'm a local headliner in the IE, I would say, but I'm a national like feature.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think. No,
What is that?
Well, like, what do you mean?
Like a national feature?
Like a guy that goes before the headliner that
Oh,
does
okay.
20 to 30 minutes. That I've got that down.
Gotcha.
But like a headliner does an hour and they can bring people in.
Mm-hmm.
You can pack it like a Tom Segura or a, Eddie Pepitone or any of these people that you like, Taylor Tomlinson,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Oh.
Yep.
How is so you auditioned in San Diego?
Well,
At
they
the Laugh
have,
Factory?
yeah, they have the open mic
Mm-hmm.
in Hollywood,
Okay.
and they also had one in San Diego.
Mm.
So I just happened to be in an open mic, and the young lady who was the manager saw me and said, "I'd like you to come down and audition down there," which was weird.
Whoa.
I know. At first, I thought she was kidding because
Uh-huh.
I've had so many people come up to me and say things. So, and then she gave me a card. It was Leah Serrano. That's not how you pronounce her last name, but she's the Laugh Factory manager still. And so I did a bunch of spots down there, and then I showcased in Hollywood a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't go that great because they make you do 6 minutes of clean material.
Mm.
Yeah, so
Of clean?
yeah, well, I didn't when I was in San Diego, but the final showcase is 6 minutes clean, and they mean clean because there were some comics that were doing the auditions that swore right off the top. So I was helped. You met Nick Laney.
Yeah.
He's a clean Christian comic,
So he's really a clean Christian comic. That's not
yeah.
just a
Well, he's a Christian, but
Okay.
he's a comic, and I don't know. I've been influenced by him a lot because I did this show called Trigger Warning, where you do 7 minutes of clean and 7 minutes of dirty material.
Oh, that's fun.
Right. So then I got the best compliment of my life. I believe it's from Nick, working with Nick a lot. We're very close. The audience member said, "Oh, I couldn't tell the difference between your dirty and your clean." I said,
Interesting.
That's right, because I worked at it.
Yeah.
So I really didn't have trouble. I'm not really a dirty comic, but when you take out the certain subjects that Nick has his own way, but I don't think he wants to be classified as a clean comic. He just wants to be classified as a comic that writes good jokes, and
Right.
that's kind of like to be known as a clean comic is kind of cheapening what he does.
No, I think that it takes away the complexity of writing clean because
Right.
there's a big percentage of comics that you would file as a dirty comic, right? Or
Sure.
or a non-clean comic. It's more, I praise comics that write clean right off the bat because it's not easy.
No.
It's very difficult.
That's difficult, and also to write original things. Like
Right.
talk about things that nobody's talking about. He does that too. I've been doing that my whole time. I see what people talk about after doing this so long.
Yeah.
And it's disturbing. There's a lot of, everybody knows what it is. It's a lot of just dumb humor.
Yeah.
do you think that, like, for both of you, do you think that comedy necessarily needs, obviously there's a need for every type of comedy, right? But do you think that it needs to be, because I've gone to comedy shows where every single comic is dirty, and it's like, it's funny, but there's times that it's made me kind of tilt my head. And again, I know that it's comedy. I know that part of it, grand majority might not be real. But we had an instance where we went to, a open mic, and we had someone that went up there, and he started out, and we kind of laughed at the beginning, like, okay, like this is awkward. And then he went into, like, I don't know, poetry or something, and it was all about sexual assault. And he was describing, like, assault, and it wasn't even, there was no punchline, there was nothing. It was just him spewing out these words. And then I kind of was like, wait, like, this, where did this go? Like, and I kind of felt like, okay, it's his art and things like that, but it did make me feel very uncomfortable, and I could see other people's faces very uncomfortable, where we were like, how much of this is actually not true and how much of this is actually true? So I guess what my question is, like, do you think that comedy does need some type of dirtiness in order for it to, like, capture an audience? Like, is that what the audience is used to now? Like, just having, like, like some dirty jokes in there, or just doesn't really need it?
Well, I believe you'll never know what the audience wants. Like Bill Hicks said it the best when he would say a lot of stuff that people thought was like Lenny Bruce. Maybe they said some stuff politically or but he goes, what do you want me to do? Interview each audience member? I mean, come on. The guy that did the spoken word and talked about that, a lot of people don't even do this all the time. Yeah. So if you get like an open micer that just started, he might want to talk about something tragic that happened to him, but he doesn't know how to put it into a entertainment form. So you can't really judge him for that. Now, if you're paying $25 to $50 to see some guy and he's doing that, then you have every right to write a bad Yelp review. Relp or Yelp, one of those. I agree. I don't know what people get offended by, because I talk about everything from politics to my personal life to tragedy to I have no idea. That's a great question that she asked.
I mean, I think personally, being a fan of comedy, being very new to this, I think that there's a way to do it. There's a way to walk a thin line, and I think that it comes with experience in writing, and also it comes with experience in performing too. I think writing in general, because the stage presence, that comes with experience, and then vice versa. Writing comes with experience too. But I think there's a way to do it. You can be dirty, but there's a way to do it, to walk that thin line between and that takes experience and takes moving words and moving phrases around, or using different types of techniques in writing that you can do it.
I think that's why Nick does clean comedy, because what you just explained seems almost impossible. By saying, I admire your, diagram there, but once you start thinking on stage on what you're going to do, then you'll lose the audience. Like, you have to entertain, and that takes stage, like you said, going out, failing a lot, and failing. And that guy, that she said maybe was bad, maybe he does that for 5 years, and you go, wow, that's what he was trying to talk about. But maybe he just doesn't go on stage. Once you get on stage, like I watched Joe Coy at the Golden Globes, who's probably the nicest guy. I met him when I first saw it. The nicest guy in the world. You can't get any nicer. But I think the people in that room, if I had to generalize, is they look at stand-up comedy like anybody can do it. Mm-hmm. You go into an open mic, you see a guy, and you're like, I could do that. But nobody ever goes, yeah, I could play professional football. And then the next week they're out there and, or it's just actors such as those people at the Golden Globes. I'm not speaking for them, but I don't think they know how hard it is to do this good. There's only several people that have ever done this. There's a lot of actors that can act, especially on film, because my parents were actors. You look in the camera a certain way and they might think that you were insane, but you don't even have to say anything, because the camera, it has a lot to do with looks. But when you're on stage for an hour in front of people and you're writing and doing all this to capture their attention and go, wow, Chris Rock, whatever. It takes years.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched Kevin Hart when he first started? He sounded like that guy she was talking about, like a lunatic. He was up there screaming and yelling. And
Yeah.
Chris Rock, he was very good when he first started, but he might be like an anomaly. I've never seen a comic the first 5 years that I would define as a comic. I think a lot of people look at open micers and they go, oh, he's been doing it 2 years or 5 years. I've been doing it for a year. I'm better than that. That's the worst thing you could ever say, because you're just doing it yourself. It doesn't matter what the other people do,
Yeah.
right? I don't know. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's such, comedy is so subjective, and it's hard to talk about because it's people have preferences, right? I mean, when you're writing, you have a preference.
Sure, I agree with that.
For the first couple of months, you're still trying to figure out, or maybe years, you're trying to figure about, like, what's my thing, like, what's my voice,
Yeah, like, who are you?
who am I with
Yeah.
my comedy? What
Right.
I think when I first started writing, I never really thought about that. I just thought, certain things are funny to me, and I'll write down a note, come back to it, see if I can come up with the setup or a punch for it with ideas. But I really don't, like, now, I don't know, like, what's my voice? What am I trying to say? I think after each joke, I tend to think, what am I trying to say here? Like, but then that also takes away from the joke too. I mean, there's maybe I'm just overthinking it. I mean, I don't know. How do you approach that?
Well, the first 5 years or even longer, you're still figuring out how to write material.
Right.
Like, you'll level up. You'll know when you level up. You'll write something and go, oh, wow, that is changing my act.
Mm-hmm.
But in the beginning, I mean, I was just talking drivel. It's just nothing. I didn't even know what to, I mean, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I've never really seen a comic in the first 5 years. Like, I look at him and go, oh, this guy's way ahead of the game. I've met some people who can write real good, write better than me. But in the end, it's the hardest thing. Like, again, to acting. Jennifer Lawrence, is that her name, the actress? Mm-hmm. Yeah. She never took an acting class.
This is the girl from the Mockingbird movies. No?
Yeah.
Games.
Silver Lining.
Hunger Games. Yeah.
Silver
there we go.
Lining Playbook, whatever.
Yeah.
And she got an Academy Award. But with stand-up comedy, you can't do that. You can't come out of the gate and, like, your first movie, like, be as good as somebody that's been doing it 20 years. That's the paradox in this whole thing. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They just walk in a mic, and I've had people come up to me at mics and go, well, what's going on, John? Why didn't this work? Why? I go, how long have you been doing it? Like 6 weeks. And I'm like, dude, come on. 6 weeks? Can you do anything good in 6 weeks?
No.
No, I can't even make my bed good. I've been doing it for 50 years. I don't know. I think it's a very ignorant art. I think a lot of people don't take it seriously.
Gotcha.
They don't. They just see, hey, I'm out here. I'm at an open mic. I'm having edibles and I'm drinking and I'm sounding like oatmeal being poured into a bowl.
Right.
They're just so horrible.
I'm going to be honest with you. That's how I approached it the first month and a half, I want to say. Like, it was a good place to start out,
Right.
but it wasn't feasible. It wasn't feasible long term if I was going to be getting buzzed every time going up there.
Oh yeah, that's what that's a problem.
Yeah, of course.
And I know all the comics because I do comedy in the IE since like 2015. I only know one other person that's sober out there, and that's Nick Laney.
Gotcha.
There might be some others, but I only know him. We're like family. So, going on stage, it can only first of all, you could kill yourself in like 10 years because every night these people or got a pipe in there, like a
Yeah.
whatever it's called, and they got drinks, they got Bud Light, and they're slobbering on themselves, and they actually think that'll be delusional because you'll be doing that for 5 years. And then one day you'll go, oh, I got to quit doing this. And you'll have to start over because what it does, drugs and alcohol, it pushes your emotions down. That's what it's for.
Right.
Like my mom is dying. If I did drugs or alcohol, I'd be dead. So I know I can compartmentalize it being sober and go, okay, she's going to get better. She's, and you just can't do that in comedy. Like, I'm glad that you're not doing it. I understand people like to be up there with a beer. People like to smoke a joint. A lot of people tell me I've got stage fright. That's never going to go away. Jerry Lewis was like 93. He goes, if you're not getting nervous, what's wrong with you?
I think we talked about Mitch Hedberg when Seven was on. Oh, my God, dude. This guy was amazing. He was a professional. He was just an awesome writer, an awesome comic. He had stage fright.
He was the GOAT, in my opinion, because he didn't. Like Richard Pryor, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, they all have this lineage of kind of doing the same thing. But nobody ever did with Mitch Hedberg. No. I never saw. Maybe there was somebody in the 20s or 30s. But he was a heroin addict.
Yes.
And that killed him. And he was young. And he was amazing. And that's what I try to tell people, especially in my scene in the Inland Empire. There's a lot of people, they could be good, but they'll never be good because they can't go on stage sober. That shit only lasts for a long, there's fentanyl. I don't know. I'm tired of telling people. If somebody wants to go up there with a heroin needle out of their arm, they're not going to get booked anyway.
Right. And especially it's that too, because there's people are watching. Right? There's bookers in the audience. When I first got booked at a club. It was an open mic. Unheard. I didn't even think about that. This is how naive and new I am. Right? I didn't even know that was possible.
Oh, to perform at a club?
To perform at a open mic and to be invited to do a showcase at a club. That was just... I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just
Where was that at?
At Shirley's Temple in Long Beach.
Shirley's Temple. That's a club. That's a cool ass
Well,
name.
no, that's where the open mic was.
Oh, okay.
The club was called or is called Comedy Chateau in North Hollywood.
Oh yeah, that's a shithole. Don't do that. First of all, let me backtrack.
I'll be performing there February.
All right, go see Gil. First of all,
ladies and gentlemen,
Shirley Temple used to be my drink. Okay?
So Shirley's Temple in Long Beach.
So somebody saw you.
The booker there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Who was the booker's name?
Yeah,
we don't want to talk about it. Well, everybody knows, unless Gil, you said I could be open on this podcast.
Okay.
Everybody knows that's a bringer show club.
Right.
Except for like people like Kevin Hart. He just drops in and does.
Of course.
But they their open mics are clubs.
Mm-hmm.
My open mics are like the ones I do in the Inland Empire and wherever else I can find. Orange County. I did one in Orange County. Right. It was pretty cool. And but theirs is, but the Comedy Chateau, they do that so they get people, they get your friends to go down there. But if you had your friends watch you that would be a good, they had, like if you tried out for football and they said all you had to do is bring your friends,
right?
Of course they would say you're fantastic. Then you would play pro football and you would die.
Right.
So that's what this is like.
True.
Your friends are going to be watching you. You're going to get used to them being enamored over you.
I don't like my friends going to the shows.
Well, I mean, you don't have to invite anybody?
I do.
All right. Well, who you can invite? Strangers on the street.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, regardless of what it is or what it isn't, I think that
it's good practice.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's good practice, and it's a little more into getting now you need to be a little more professional. This is how it works. This is what they kind of send you this and that versus showing up to just an open mic.
I agree.
So I think it's yes, it's not top notch. Yeah, maybe it's not where you want to still be in 10 years. Right. But I think to get a foot into the door and get your feet wet, absolutely.
Yeah, well, my old thing is is if you do the open mics, and I know it's a bitch. You've seen the one at Claremont wasn't bad. The pizza place, that wasn't bad. That's where I met you.
Yes.
That wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't.
It had some audience members, but there are open mics in Los Angeles and Hollywood where you're performing in front of other comics, and those are horrible. I agree. So if you want to do, you could do whatever you want. I'm just saying that club is a very low-level club. You might have to edit this part.
Oh, I forgot. We don't edit on the podcast.
Well, I mean, you know.
No, it's fine.
It's fine. You're getting stage time. Hey, listen, if you're willing to do it, it's a free country.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they stormed the Capitol. It seemed to work. I don't know, man.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, to each his own. I'm just saying that a lot of these bringer shows, you know, did you want to say something? Because I'm rambling. I'm sorry.
No. I think just it's great we're having this conversation because I am super new. Like,
Right.
and I think especially with podcasting and comedy and going to open mics, there's no rule book or manual to say, hey, this is what you got to do. The only thing that I know right now is getting as much stage time as possible and keep working. Keep writing.
That's awesome.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
Right now. So if somebody's going to book me at wherever,
Right.
I'll fucking take it.
I don't blame you. And you could do local shows too.
Right.
And with audiences that's why I like the IE.
Wait, there's a comedy scene in the IE?
Who was the one that didn't say? My friend Leo wanted to bring that up. Yeah, I think you met Leo at the
Did I?
the tall, brooding guy that lingers over you and judges your every movement.
The first time, that was our first time, right? At Goofball Night or
Yeah. Mine too, I think.
So it was my first night there, and it was awesome to go there and have people recognize me because of the podcast.
Oh yeah, the gentleman Leo is the one. He's a podcast freak, man.
Nice.
He'll send me podcast. Look what they said. I go, wow, where'd you get this?
Right.
He goes on deep dives. But I think he brought it up that Carlos Madrona said that there wasn't any comics in the IE. I'm not going to quote that. I don't know what he said because I never listen to a damn thing he ever says anyway. Give a fuck about that motherfucker. I got certain friends in this business.
Oh my gosh.
I don't care what Carlos Madrona does. I know he worked at somewhere. He did something, but you know, he can say whatever he wants.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not down with that.
Was that the line that there wasn't any IE?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, putting.
I don't know if he said
Wood
that
to
or
the
not
fire.
because I will not listen to anything he says.
Right.
So this is on deep background from a guy named Leo.
Uh-huh.
You don't even know his last name.
Just some dude named Leo.
Well, I've known him. He's like
Yeah.
a family to me.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know his last name. I think it's Zeninga. I'm messing that up. Zenga. Then he
Zinger.
Then he went by Leo Fontana, like a porn name. Listen, Leo, when you do listen to this, concentrate on doing more than 3 minutes of comedy without boring people. Worry about your stupid name. Oh, but there is a mic. I did have a couple things. There's a mic called Chatterbox,
Okay.
which is my all-time favorite mic.
How is it?
It's awesome.
I still haven't been out there.
Well, if you go on Thursday, if you have time, get there at 8.
Okay.
The only drawback is sometimes they have so many comics, they only take the first 30, and they have a non-binary gender fluidity list. I didn't make it up. Steve Hernandez did, which is fine. Women's list, so they get to go before you. They kind of intermingle it in. It's a great mic because you'll really find out if you're good at comedy because it's very pretentious, and a lot of Hollywood comics come up there that do good work. They're on the road. They're really good comics, and then if he likes you, Steve, you get booked for the Sunday show. And I don't know if you've ever gone to their Saturday or Sunday show. They got some killers.
Haven't been there.
Yeah, if you look on Chatterbox,
And you say it's Thursdays nights?
Yeah.
Thursday nights?
Thursday at 8. I
Thursday
don't
at
think
8.
it's that far from here.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not
That's
very
kinda
far.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like open mics that are close, man. I'll be honest.
Oh yeah, me too.
I went to one in Orange County. It was called the Border Cantina. It was really good. It's just right over the 57.
A lot of comics or a lot of
No, there was audience. members.
audience? Okay.
And you can network. See,
Mm-hmm.
that's another good thing about doing open mics that are good. There'll be bookers there, and if they like you, they'll even give you a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go do their rooms.
Right.
You know, it might be a local show. And I don't know if you've done any local shows besides what I saw you. I don't know. I haven't seen you out, but at the pizza place, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
go to other places. You have your own show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you do the poetry and comedy, don't you?
Yeah. So we are starting an open mic. I'll give you some more details about
cool.
that off air, but we're working to do an open mic, comedy open mic, features, and then also have a live podcast.
Oh, yeah, you got the podcast down. Good.
Right. So I kind of want to encompass my two loves together.
Yeah, that's great.
And mash them up to see what
will
we
it
can
be?
do.
Like at a restaurant or something? Or?
It's gonna be at what's the square footage of the gallery space? We have a space,
1,200
Oh, that's awesome.
1,200.
That's perfect.
square feet.
How big is the stage? We built a platform that is a 15 by
10.
5, 15 by 10,
15 by 10.
15 by 10 platform. It's gonna be awesome. I'll show you pictures off
that's
air, but it's
great.
gonna be fun.
Are you going to like do it once a month?
I'm gonna do it once a month. I'm gonna have a pilot to see how that, like a pilot episode type
oh, yeah,
of thing,
that's cool. Yeah.
to see how it works, the operation. I think I have the operation down, the audio, video. I have that down. It's just a matter of getting people in the seats, and then also I have the features already. I'm working on
nice.
getting a band. It's gonna be this
Oh, I
whole
love that.
thing, dude. It's gonna be amazing. Hopefully, it works out.
Yeah, I like performing with bands and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
It's different too.
Yeah, it's nice. You don't need to see 30 horrible comics talking about their dick or their pussy or whatever they talk. God. Sometimes I go down to the Hollywood Improv and see a friend of mine. Then I see a famous comic.
Yeah.
And they start talking about sex, right? And I think, is this going to be deep?
Mm-hmm.
But they always end it with some like 17-year-old 1980s punchline that doesn't make, and you're like, wow, that was the lady on 24. I really like her as a comic and an artist, but why did she have to go there? That's the stage I am in comedy right now. I really like to look for the gems of people who really know how to, you know, out here in the Inland Empire, it was actually, I mean, I bought my house in 2012, so I wasn't out here before that. I was in Hollywood and LA and a bunch of different places. But in 2005, Rick Rome started the scene out here at Liam's Irish Pub in Colton. And Joey Diaz used to go there.
Really?
Oh, yeah, a lot of comics. Oh,
Whoa.
yeah, he had a gang. It was a crazy, I got to do it just before it closed. And it closed, and then Rick Rome kind of went away. He still does comedy. I really don't know him that well.
Roan or Rome?
Rome, Rick Rome, R-O-M.
Okay.
And then what happened was they had Flappers in Claremont.
I remember when they had that.
That was a great place to a good mic. You know, it was a really good open mic with like audience members and like maybe 30 comics, but it was kind of a nice little hang. You would have loved it, Gil. That's your wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say girlfriend.
Well,
We're not married.
We're not
just
married yet. We're Mexican married.
I love Mexican married. I've
We're
been that before.
We're
That's the
Mexican
best.
engaged.
We're Mexican married.
But
Once you start living with each other, they
we're-
categorize you
yeah,
as
I've done
married.
that before.
We're common law.
So you could take out
Marriage.
the house. That's
Yeah.
what I like. No, but that was a good mic, but they closed that down.
When did they close it down? Because
several
I
years
remember getting a free ticket to. I never went.
Right.
I left them in my truck and I sold my truck, but I got 2 free tickets to the Flappers Comedy Club in Claremont. I never went. I
Yeah,
won them from work, I think.
That's a good question. I don't know when they closed down.
That sucks.
It had to be 3 or 4 years ago. It was, I mean, you wouldn't believe everybody loved it so much, you know.
Now they just have a Flappers in Burbank, right?
Right. Just one there. And I mean, you know, it's an open mic. You can go there for the audition. Matter of fact, you might want to try that. They have auditions like on
Yeah.
a Tuesday. And then it's similar to the Chateau, I would say one level above maybe, where they have you they'll book you on a show, but then you'll still have to bring like 5 people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that pretty common? Bringer shows, right? That's what they call them.
It's the most popular thing that's ever worsened the state of comedy.
Is
Because-
that how it is now?
Yeah, well, bringer shows literally started like in the early 2000s, like 2003. Because when I started 2005, I heard about them. I never did them. I've never done a bringer show, so I just did the open mics. But yeah, it seems to run rampant right now. Like there's the Jimmy Shin, this guy, he gets comics, and actually some IE comics have been pimped out to do his show. He's like a pimp, but not even a good pimp, because he doesn't have really good looking women. Fuck. He's got horrible comics. So that's, he's not even the good kind of pimp where you see some like woman with big titties that you might want to fuck. But no,
Right.
He's got dumb comics that do his show, and they're horrible people, those comics that even decide to do it, because it cheapens everything I believe in, Gil.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, isn't it the same in certain cultures? Like, what do you think about now when you see the movie Stand and Deliver, which is my...
I haven't seen it in a very long time.
Right. The way they portray Latinos on that might
Okay.
be a little backdated now if they had the new Stand and Deliver. And this is what I'm talking about with these bringer shows, to where it just cheapens the art. They don't write. They don't have to write. They bring all their friends, and then Jimmy Shin goes, yeah.
Oh, okay. I see. I think I understand where you're getting at.
Yeah, I mean, that might have been a horrible example, but I do those from time to time.
Let me give you an example. Okay, so say you're doing a show, right?
Right.
And I bring 50 people.
Wow, that's great. I'm glad you know that many people, but go ahead. If you bring 50 people and they pay to see you,
I'm just saying, like, say I bring 50 people,
Right.
And I'm on stage, I kill it
Right.
because all my friends go there to see me. Everybody's applauding. All right, go Gil. It kind of it cheapens it a little
that's
bit
exactly the point I've been trying to make for the last half hour that I didn't.
because
You made it in one sentence.
because the perception of me on stage is good because I have my friends and family in the audience.
Yeah, and when the owner of the club sees you on a Booker show, they got to take you seriously.
Right.
Like, say you were on a real book show with like Dion Cole and Taylor Tomlinson and Cat Williams, whoever, and then you opened up. The owner of the place, the one who makes all the decisions, that's never seen you before, might be in there to check you out. But on a bringer show, she ain't checking you out. She's just glad that somebody bought 80 people, and now they're going to make their booze and their rent.
Right.
That's why they do it. That's why these people do it. Like I said, it's to each his own, but we have some comics in our area that just started doing them. And, they're new. And they're on these Jimmy Shin shows. And it's just, I don't know.
What
Like,
do you think about I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, like you said it perfectly. You bring your friends. They all love you. You bring your parents first. That's the first people you bring, especially if you're in your 20s or 30s.
Right.
Like, hey, Dad, come on down. Bring all the nephews in the family. Tell grandmother to get off her oxygen tent. Come on down. We're going to do comedy. Meanwhile, they're watching 15 comics that can't do comedy and say the same thing every time. So when they go see Chris Rock, they're going, oh, this is what comedy is. Not that shitty Jimmy Shin / Comedy Chateau / whatever, Carol Newell. There's so many of them that, it's disturbing, but I understand why they do it. Jimmy Shin does it, I think, because he gets good contacts. Like even during the pandemic, he had Bill Burr on one of his shows.
Whoa.
So now he's got in contact with Bill
Wait, hold
Burr.
on. Is Jimmy Shin good or Jimmy Shin bad?
Well, I his comedy?
No, I don't.
He's just a bringer producer.
Oh, okay.
His comedy is whatever.
And he's a
I don't
comic?
know. I don't
He's
know
a
what kind of
comic.
comedy you like. Give me a comic that you like, and I'll tell you if it's good or bad.
I
compared to
like
Jimmy Shin.
Mitch Hedberg. Right now,
All right, well,
I like Mitch Hedberg.
He's not even
I like Stephen Wright.
right. Those are two.
Exactly.
Okay, Jimmy
Bill
Shin.
Hicks is probably my number one.
Bill Hicks. All those three. Jimmy Shin couldn't even polish their shoes.
Right.
he would be like something you would find on gum underneath the table compared to those people.
Right.
Yeah, he's just a guy that, hey, listen, a lot of my friends do him. And, you know, I always want to tell them that, you know, you sold your soul. Like the Twilight Zone, the guy, you want to live forever. And then at the end of the Twilight Zone, you find out it's the devil. So if you just, all this is you're doing, you could tell the difference between a bringer comic and a real comic. And I'll talk about the scene I'm in, about the good comics. Like we have a couple roast battlers that have won the Ontario Improv. Cesar Reynoso. I just butchered his name, but he's won it like 4 times. He doesn't do bringer shows. He has to write all his own shit. Sandy, another guy, write. The people that start doing these bringer shows, they kind of give up at an early stage because they get them the first year in comedy. They're like I said, that's why they're like pimps. You know, like pimps in my neighborhood in the 70s, and I was born in 64. You see a 14-year-old walking down the street, that pimp is going to trick her out. He's going to turn her out. That's basically what Jimmy Shin and all these people are doing. They're the doughy-eyed artists. I got to get up at the Improv.
Right.
I gotcha. Come with me. You know, it's disturbing.
So it's these promoters that are,
of course, it's the promoters
are looking at who can
they
pretty much bring whoever, whether they're funny or not.
Right, because they're bringing 10 to 15, 20 people.
They're not looking at the act. They're not looking at the art of comedy.
But they don't even know how to. Jimmy Shin and these people don't know how to do comedy.
Gotcha.
They look at it like, oh, this guy's telling a joke about whatever. He's good enough for my show. He's going to bring 10 people. And if you have 10 people on a show, that's 100 people. I don't care where you are. That's a lot of people.
Right.
And they got to pay to get in. It's not free.
Are the comics getting a paid?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know what they're getting stage time. But maybe some of these places that have you sell tickets, you do get a percentage. But I'm not. That's over my. I don't. Well, you start doing that, it's just how are you going to concentrate on getting good at comedy? Just go out every night and do comedy.
Right. What about the fourth wall?
Oh, that's good. Fourth wall. I don't know.
Before we even.
We're going through all the clubs. All right, let me break it down. The Laugh Factory in Hollywood.
Break it down. Dude, I am so new to this.
I know.
I'm glad to be talking with you.
I appreciate it, man. I love I love this whole setup. It's great. You know, already I'm going to send a text to the Comedy Bureau and have them canceled.
I got to...
You dummy. I spent $80 on food, and I'm here in this place, and it's beautiful. Look at that. You even made me look good on camera, which is impossible.
It was the Barbara Streisand filter.
Nick Lane. I only like Nick Laney's cameras. He's got the good ones.
He has good
ones? You
ones?
look at him, you go, that's me? Oh, nice. But no, okay. If you take the Three Major Club, the Comedy Store, let's start there.
Okay.
You have to email them, I believe, Friday between noon and 1. I'll give you the email. Then they send you an email on Monday and say you're in the potluck. And you got to be at the Comedy Store like at 6 o'clock in Hollywood. And Emily, the booker, will look at you. You know, you might want to wait and not do that for like a year or so. Because if you go down there and bomb and she looks at you, trust me, they remember that shit.
Yeah.
But that's in the future. Laugh Factory, you stand outside from 12 noon to whenever on Sunset Boulevard. And you can do that right away. And then the Improv one is a little harder in Hollywood. It's like at 5 o'clock on a weekday, and there's like 200 comics, and you get 3 minutes, and sometimes you don't get pulled. So if I had to pick one, I'd pick the Comedy Store because you get the guaranteed spot. And, you know, I'm pretty sure people go down there and have never done comedy before. You get up there and do 3 minutes, but it's intimidating as
3 minutes?
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. That's a challenge. I like 3 minutes.
Yeah, well, you just started. 3 minutes is perfect for you.
I like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I like 1 minute.
Well, if you like one-liner comics, but you don't really do one-liners. I saw you. You're pretty good. You might be ahead of the game.
I have a few.
You're a good writer, and you take it pretty seriously.
I do.
You know, a lot of people in my scene, like in 2005, I believe Rick Rome retired or something, or maybe it was 2015, or I don't know. But then this other group called the Buddy System took it over. You can get them on Instagram. And they set up these open mics in the Inland Empire, Riverside, mainly. I don't know if you've been to Riverside on University Avenue.
I've been there.
Yeah, they have, I think they changed their name, Worthington's on Thursday, which is the best mic because there's real people. So
That's what you want, right?
Yeah, that's what you want. And then they have another one at Back to the Grind later this month, which is good. They'll probably have real people, maybe not as many. It's their first one. Then they have the Riff Off at Brooks Bar Golf Club. They have locals there where you pick something out of the hat and you riff on a topic.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, on the buddy system, they got all that. You know, they started that in 2015, 16 with a bunch of people. Aaron Chase, he moved to Chicago. George Ferrito, William Henderson, Stephanie Michelle, a lot of Nick Lanny. A lot of people had input on keeping the shows going. And they're always good. And they also have book shows that if they see you at the open mic, they'll put you on one of their book shows. There are breweries. They have one every 3 or 4 months at the Ontario Improv. Now, that's an open mic that's not bad, the Ontario Improv.
Which is like once every 6 months.
Yeah, they used to have it every month, but now they got the roast battle, which is very popular. They want to pack it out. Remember, those people want the place packed. They don't care how they do it. So really, you have to blame the club.
Once every eclipse in the world.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
It's kind of sad that they don't nurture young talent because there's probably a lot of great talent.
Out here, yeah.
Yeah, the closest thing I could say that nurtures young talent is Chatterbox because they get a lot of good comics.
How long has that been open for?
Like 13 years.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Steve Hernandez is cool, man. He's got a nice little thing going.
We have to get out there, Amber, because I hear it so much positive things about that spot that I haven't been able to get out there.
Well, if I had to compare, they're not the Inland Empire.
It's West Covina.
Yeah, it's not L.A. County.
It's LA County, yeah.
But if I had to compare our scene, which the buddy system runs, and there's another group called the COC, Court of Comics, these are all beginning comics, basically. There are some vets that go out there and do the mic. But
that's Dick Salas, right? The Court of Comics?
Yeah. And Corey Baldwin.
Yeah, that's right.
And they have University of Riverside sometimes has a mic out there. It's kind of cool. But these are the Chatterbox is more for people that really take comedy seriously. There are some hobbyists there, but I'm talking about there's some damn good comics at Chatterbox. Some that open up for Joe List, some that are touring. You go down there and go, God, you don't see these at the open mics. But the Inland Empire, I would say, is a good starting ground for newer comics to get their feet wet, to learn how to take the mic out of the mic stand and move the mic and talk about things. And, the first couple of years.
Right.
And then after a couple of years, then you can go anywhere you want. But yeah, it just depends on who you are, I guess, and how you want to do it. A lot of people like to get high and get drunk. And, I don't take those people seriously. In L.A., Inland Empire, Chatterbox, the Valley, I see somebody sucking on one of those pipes and then talking to me, I just dismiss them. That would be like 90% of the comics.
It's
I just don't believe they know what they're saying when they're on stage.
I don't understand that. When I get stoned or when I have gotten stoned,
right.
I could barely talk to somebody, let alone go on stage in front of strangers or in front of people that have hit the stage or not. It doesn't make sense.
I got in an argument with one of the buddy system people, George Ferrito, and I asked him, why is everybody here so stoned and high and this and that? And he said he had anxiety. And I'm like, dude, welcome to the world.
Yeah. Welcome to being a human being.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I am not against my mom, who is 90-something. She used to take edibles for her mental illness. I was totally for that. But she's not going on stage and wasting people's time. She is trying to survive.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad when you're an open mic and all these people are high and drunk and you're in the back and there's a packed audience a lot of times at these places out here because you get real people at buddy system mics. And then you're up there and the drunk idiot stoner guy gets up there and half the audience leaves. How do you think that makes me feel, makes certain other people that take it seriously, that want to get better, not just be famous, but get to another level, like level up, I guess they call it. I don't know if that's what the right term is, but
Yeah.
and then you'll get there faster. Listen, you can't wait to go home or after your set get high. You could go up there sober and then go out into the parking lot and smoke a joint.
Yeah.
It's legal.
Right.
But I mean, I'm done talking about this with people because they don't listen. You know, it's just ridiculous. It's just like,
You literally have conversations.
oh,
with-
I would tell everybody.
Yeah?
If I could, I would, this podcast, I'll share it with everybody that I think is an idiot and does this getting up there and just wasting people's time. Oh, you know, I wrote this when I was high. Well, okay, well, go home. Because if 30 comics show up and you get 20 of them that are idiots, imagine if they stayed home.
Oh, it gets so tiring sometimes too when you're going to open mics and there's tons of comics.
Right.
I've loved comedy for a very long time, since I was a young kid. Now practicing it and writing and going to open mics and going to comedy shows, it's almost like every comic that goes up there, oh, I'm stoned right now, like that, or some version of that. Oh, I'm super stoned right now, but let me say this. And then it's like every other comic that's saying this, like, is anybody sober in here? And I get it. I get it. It's a place.
It's a hangout.
It's a hangout.
Right, I get
It's
it too.
it's
Their
but-
20s and their 20s or you know, at 30, I think you should get your shit together. But that's
Right.
just me. But I get it. Somebody's coming out. They're 22. They're having a good time.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
Those people are pretty. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, those people are pretty noticeable. Like there's some 22, 23-year-old kids that like to party. I liked to party when I was that age.
Of course.
Now, I didn't do stand-up comedy, but I give them a break because I think, come on, man. They're out here. You don't know what their life's like. Let the kid live. But once you hit 30 and you're still doing this shit, I don't take you seriously. I just don't, because you're wasting people's time. And if you're getting booked on a show that you have no business being booked on and you're high all the time and you bomb on that show, it's going to be a reflection of our scene. So they're going to ask some guy from the Inland Empire came.
Yeah, I'm not going to book him anymore.
Yeah, we already get bad comics. Excuse me. We already get bad comics from Hollywood that come out here. That, you know, they're like, where am I? The Inland what? You know, stuff like, you know, like you don't know where you are.
Right.
Those people need to stay the fuck away. But out here, we can kind of control our scene because it's a small scene.
Right.
You know, everybody knows everybody out here. Yeah.
I think what I was gonna say with that, what you're kind of commenting about, you know, being there like high and drunk and things like that, and people that maybe it's their first time going to a comedy show or you know, going to that place, and then they see that and it does kind of taint and puts a damper on the comedy scene, because then they start thinking like, that's all they do is they go, they drink, they get high, and that's what comedy is. And you know, it sets a standard for other comedians, and I don't think that it's fair, because it, you know, a lot of people generalize that that's what it is, or that's what everybody does, and it kind of sucks, because like, you know, people that are actually out there hustling and you know, writing their jokes and doing things like that, and then, you know, it's, I don't know, I think it does put a damper on the entire comedy scene.
Yeah, and then also, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but also the people that came to watch that shit show, you think they're going to come back? Because on these open mics, you know, sometimes you get regular people, you know, and they come back and back and back. But are they going to come back and back when you see these people high all the time? Probably not. Some people will because they're high. You know, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Some people like it, I guess. I don't know.
Like the comedy, like the comic that is high?
Well, I mean, no, I'm just saying, like, there's probably audience members that high. So when somebody's on stage, I'm high. They're like, yeah,
right.
The one guy. So what do I know? I don't know, man.
What do you think about like comedy show etiquette, right? Like as far as for the crowd, because I've been in crowds where people are talking over comedians. People aren't paying attention. Like what would be your ideal like crowd etiquette? I guess I would say like what would be your ideal crowd?
For them to shut the fuck up until it's time to laugh. That's what I like. But if you go to a comedy club, a good one, they'll escort you out the building. Even a heckler, they don't even really. They'll just at the Hollywood Improv. I used to know the bouncer down there, like in 2009. He'd go he'd be talking to me. He goes, "Just a minute, John." He'd take a guy and throw him out the door.
That's what's up.
That's awesome. But at some of these local shows that you do, there's a good one called Grey Wolf. Stephanie Michelle runs it. They're in their it's a brewery. They're having a good time, and then they know a comedy show's coming, but maybe they haven't seen these people in a while, so they're going to continue to talk to them. Well, that's too bad. You're going to have to get used to people talking.
Right.
And then maybe it's like a training ground. And then when you go into a club, they're not going to be talking at the Comedy Chateau because it's a club. Yeah. And plus, when people pay to get in, like if you paid $25 to see Chris Rock and somebody was talking next to you, I'd tell them to shut the fuck up. I would.
Right.
But if it's a free show,
yeah, of course.
people are talking in the back. Sometimes there's not a lot of audiences. I'm guilty of this. Comics in the back talking, and the guy gets off stage. He goes, "Man, I could hear you in the back talking." I'm like, all right, yeah, that I like the etiquette. If you're really good at like running your show when you're going to run your show, you can explain to the audience like every third act because you'll have different people coming in. Because some of these people run these open mics, they don't even tell them what it's about. Like I wish they would do that in our scene, that at the Worthingtons. I wish they'd say, "Listen, we have comics that are going to come up here that have never done comedy before, but they're trying." Yeah. Then we have people that have been doing it a little while. Then we have veterans. If you want to say something to the comic, just hold back. And then if you want to, we really can't stop you. Kind of like set the tone for the room. Because people come in and out of open mics. They go in the pizza place, they come out. But they see a guy up there going, "Yeah, my childhood." And they're like, "I just want to get a fucking pizza." But I get it. But if you run a book show and you tell the people in the beginning, please if you want to talk on your phone, go outside. They'll respect that, especially if they pay. If
yeah, of course.
Pays, but if they get in somewhere for free and they're drunk, they're not going to listen.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Have you ever been heckled before?
Oh, yeah, lots of times.
Yeah?
Fuck yeah.
How do you handle it?
I've handled it horribly, but I've learned how to handle it better as I've been doing it longer. I handle it with kindness. I used to get mad. Like when I talked about the war, because I was in the Air Force. I talked about the illegal bombing of Iraq. And some guy just said, "You're not a patriot. Fuck you. I was in Vietnam," and all this shit. I got mad. But now I just kind of treat it with kindness, like like a kid maybe saying something that would be wrong. Like, "Oh, it's going to be okay." To each, every situation's different.
Right.
It'd be great not to have a heckler, trust me. But
Yeah.
sometimes people will just say something stupid. I guess you're just going to have to figure that out. There's really some people have stock
There's no
lines.
how to.
Well, there's stock lines you could use, but I just
Yeah.
like to handle it in the sometimes people want to help you. Like I like to talk about 80s music. This guy goes, "Oh, do you like OMD, Orchestra Maneuvers in the Dark?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's a good question." And then he stops. But if you go, "Well, hey man, fuck you."
Yeah.
I've heard idiots say I have the microphone.
Like the comics on stage say that
Yeah, I have the microphone.
to the
To the
heckler.
guy who heckles, I would say, "Just a minute." I would get a taser and I'd tase the comic. That's what we should. Yeah, his name was Michael Gonzalez. He doesn't do comedy anymore, so he won't listen to this. But
How many people do you see starting comedy when you did to now? Is there a lot of like what's the drop off?
It's
so
a big drop
so
off.
to give you an example, I think right now, I haven't checked it in a while, but I think it's 80% of podcasts that started in like 2020. I think only like there's a very low percentage of them that are still doing it now. Is there something like that in comedy when you started?
I know a comic that said he will be famous on contrition of the people dropping out.
Mm-hmm.
He had this whole formula. He goes, the first 2 years, okay, maybe. The third year, this 20% drop. He had it like down like to a science.
Right.
And he's right. They just, I think from when I started, it's just a handful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them I see him on Facebook. I go, oh, I remember that guy used to do comedy.
He used to do comedy.
Yeah, I think, you really have to have a love for it. You
Right.
know the people, like Nick Lanny has a love for it, even more than I do. And when I see that, I go, wow, he's putting the work in. He's out there. He's got everything but a podcast.
He needs one.
He does.
Nick Lanny, if you're watching or listening,
He will.
hit me up. I can help you.
Yeah, I mean, he's got so many things going on, and he's always out there almost every night doing comedy, which when I think about all the people in the Inland Empire, there's only 2 or 3 that do that. I don't even do that, but I've been doing this a while, so I pick and choose what mics I go to. And I usually write when I'm walking my dog or I'm at the gym. But there's only certain mics, Chatterbox, a couple of the Buddy System mics, maybe some Orange County mics, because they have at least 10 people in there. I don't want to perform in front of comics. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's weird.
Even I could see why people quit their first 6 months. I've had people come up to me and go, how do you do this? I was like, I don't know, man, because I love it.
What would you say to a new person doing comedy? Like, is there any besides this hour of wisdom that you've shared with us? Like, what is there? What are the key points that you usually share if somebody asks you, "Hey, Johnny, like what do I need to keep going? How can I keep this thing going? How can I create longevity for as long as you've been doing it for?"
Stay away from Carlos Madrona. That's the first That's the first step. Step 1. Step 1. Check mark.
All right.
It's a great question. I
There.
think
Oh my God.
I don't think
I didn't say anything, Carlos.
His
okay?
his ego's so big he ain't gonna listen to this.
I didn't say anything, Carlos or Santos. It's his brother.
Oh, he has a brother?
Yeah.
Does his brother do comedy?
His brother doesn't. His brother is a podcaster.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I won't be on that podcast, probably. That's a good question. I think the people, I'm going to use Nick Lanny. I know he told me not to bring his name up, but I did like 17
You brought it up. Yeah, 17, 18
I can't
times.
help myself. I think he has a real passion for it.
You just have to be passionate about it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Anything you want to do that is something, even like if you want to own your own business, or you want to be a good parent, or you want to do comedy or an acting or singing or any of this stuff or podcasting, deep down, you can't stop. You just have to go out. Like it'll pull you off the couch. Like when I do comedy, of course, I'm tired, but then something will pull me out to drive round trip like 4 hours to do a show. That's the main thing. I think if you're just doing this, it's hard to get that in the beginning. I think he had that from the beginning because I know him very well. I don't know a lot of comics. They go, I'm starting comedy, but they don't know. Some people like you might have the upper edge because you loved comedy. I mean, I loved acting. I never loved stand-up comedy. I didn't even know what stand-up comedy was.
I didn't even know that I liked comedy so much until I really thought about it. Like all the actors, all the movies that I liked, everything that I was really looked up to were comics, were comedians, were comedy movies.
You know what? It'll answer for itself because the comics that quit, the ones that I know that have quit have come up to me after 2 years. Go, I can't do this. And I go, then you'll never be able to do it.
What is it? Is it just the
It's the hustle.
The hustle. It's a lot, dude.
It's a lot of driving, a lot of kissing ass, a lot of. I mean, I don't kiss ass. I'll tell you right off the bat, you can go fuck yourself. I had this guy reach out to me on Instagram, and I love him. John Liu runs a great room. He starts talking shit about some comic. I go, let's get to the brass tacks. When am I going to headline your show in Santa Ana?
That was your conversation with this guy?
I don't give a fuck about some guy who's meta or mega. They use these fancy words. I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
Who is this guy you sent me? No, but I love your room and I'd like to do it. And he goes, okay, I'll book you in February. I don't want to get in all that shit.
Yeah.
So you got to be anything that somebody's okay. Do you follow football?
No.
Okay. Well, CJ Stroud, he's from Rancho Cucamonga. He's in the playoffs. He's a rookie. He's 22 years old. He is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the world. When you hear him talking about football, that's what you need to have for comedy. I mean, he is just a 22-year-old kid that is engrossed in what he does.
You have to be obsessed.
Yeah, it's almost like obsessed, but you have to have a regular life too. I don't really, I think you should live your life, fall in love. I mean, in the beginning, you're not going to make a lot of money.
Right.
So you have to have another job. I mean, I know Cat Williams says you're not a real comic unless you live in your car. All right, well, that worked for him.
Yeah.
A lot of shit worked for him.
Thought that was Steve Harvey.
One of those people said that. I don't know who said that.
Well, Cat Williams said that wasn't Steve Harvey.
Yeah, that's right. The callback.
Yeah.
Cat Williams.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's to each his own. Like you'll find your own journey. Trust me, you'll quit. This will make you quit. If you really want to do it, you'll quit. It's just like waving the white flag in war. You're like, we're done. We lost the Civil War.
How many times have you quit?
I really took breaks. I took breaks.
Breaks?
Yeah, I was trying to have a kid with my ex-girlfriend. And when I bought my house out here, it took me 2 years to find the fucking house, because of the housing market. I couldn't even concentrate, man. I was going through a lot. But I always thought about it. And it never left my mind. And just like acting with my parents, they were obsessed about it. Like my mom said the meanest thing to me ever. And she was on Broadway and she'd done movies. She goes, I think if I didn't have kids, I would have been a star. And when you tell that to your kid, you're like, oh shit, that's how much she likes it. And when we watch movies and she points out that actress and you did this and this is how she does her emotion. It's just wrapped up in her soul.
And both of your parents were actors?
Yeah, my dad.
How was that?
It was all right.
Your dad was what now?
He was a film actor. It was kind of a broken family, Got divorced when I was 5. That's not good for a kid.
And you guys were out here in Southern California. They were working in Hollywood?
My parents, I'm from New York. We're all from New York, but my parents.
Oh.
Yeah, my parents moved out when I was a kid, and we had a beautiful house. Do you know where the Capitol Records building is?
I've seen it on Google.
Right. Well, my parents, I think their mother bought them a house like on the hills.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it was nice. I remember as a kid, I go, oh, I'd never want to leave this place. But we left after a couple of years because my dad and my mom were fighting all the time. So I had a fractured relationship that way. When you're divorced at 5, it's really fucked up. You don't find out till later.
How fucked up it really was.
Yeah. And then when you do comedy and you're writing about your life, then you're like, oh man, I should have got therapy.
Dude, you have no idea about you do have an idea.
Right.
I never really thought about the state I was in, my parents were in during a lot of traumatic stuff throughout my life. And comedy helped me see that.
Oh, that's great.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was a weird transition and a weird mindset that I put myself in. And at the end, it was just like, oh, fuck. Like, this is fucked up. It was really bad.
Yeah.
But looking for the funny in all those different situations really helped me through all those experiences.
Oh, that's good.
Because I didn't really think about.
Yeah, you push it down.
I pushed it down,
Yeah.
or back then I really thought about it and try to find the funny then but to myself, I didn't really share it with anybody.
Well, that's what actors do. It's called sense memory. They remember something of their childhood or a breakup, and then they get emotional for a scene.
Oh,
Like if you're doing a scene with a young lady,
right.
and then you're breaking up with her, then maybe you think about a breakup you had, and you put. They say it's really unhealthy, actually.
But a lot of actors do that.
That's an old method. I think some of these actors, they don't even have to, they're just on camera because they're good looking and they're capable. I love all actors. I wish I could have hosted the Golden Globes. That would be my wheelhouse because I'm obsessed with movies. When I saw Joe Coy, I felt bad for him.
Really?
Yeah, did you watch it?
I didn't watch it.
Oh,
I watched his monologue that they said and what he told Taylor Swift. I think that was, I don't know.
I got nervous.
What
for
did he
him.
say? Can we watch it? Is there clips of
a clip.
I tell
what
you,
he said?
I tell you, when I watch it, I got nervous for him as a stand-up comic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When the guy's going down into a certain thing, you're not sure if he's bombing or not. You're just like, oh my goodness, what is happening?
It's long, but we'll watch a piece of it. Can you guys hear it?
No. There we go.
Look, I'm just taking this all in. Let me look around. I'm taking this all in. I'm so excited to be here. This is a dream come true, not just for me, but for everybody in here. We all dreamt of this moment. And look at this. Look at this room. Look around. I mean, like look around. Look, Kevin Costner's here. Kevin Costner's never here. Kevin's like in a mountain with a cow or something, but today he's here. Don Cheadle's here. Just looking around, just everybody's here. Like this is a good night, and I got the best seat in the house. When I was a kid growing up, I used to watch this show, and I would stay up late with my family, just trying to guess who would win. And every time my mom would say, "It's Meryl Streep, stupid." Who else is going to win? She wins every time. And she was right. You do. You win all the time. That's why when the Golden Globes called me and asked me if I wanted to host, I jumped to the chance and I said, yes, yes. And then they asked me if I saw every movie and every TV show, and then I said, yes. I lied. I only watched Beef. I love you, Allie.
Beef.
You know what I mean? It's mandatory. I'm Asian. But not only that, it killed. You killed it, Allie. But anyway, I'm sorry. I want to tell you that.
Where's his monologue?
This is it.
Oh, this is it.
I started binge watching.
Wait till he makes fun of Taylor Swift. That's the funny.
I guess I don't know what a monologue is then.
Clanking champagne glasses.
Let me see if I can
bring it
find.
in the new year.
Yeah, see if you can find something because he's just rambling off about.
Yeah, he's very nervous. I seen him at Chatterbox. He was at Chatterbox.
Really?
Oh, that Chatterbox is good.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, he's nothing like this.
Amber, we got to clear out Thursdays.
Man, he was nervous.
Chatterbox.
Who wouldn't be nervous though doing
Yeah.
something like that?
Absolutely.
God, I get nervous just doing regular shows. I mean, he's doing this in front of all those stuck up.
What do you do to release some of the nerves?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I still haven't figured it out.
No.
Deep breaths.
Yeah.
I'm really good when I'm tired. So if I haven't,
Oof.
like, I know, isn't that weird?
That
'Cause
is weird.
I get super nervous. I always have. And I think that's why a lot of people do drugs and alcohol to combat the fearness. But I think sometimes by doing it a lot and so many years I've been doing it, I've kind of got it down. But I mean, my showcase at the Laugh Factory, my heart rate was insane. And at the Comedy Store and all these important shows that I have done featuring down in the clubs. I mean, my heart is just, but then once it goes good, it goes down. And sometimes it doesn't go down.
Yeah. I guess building the confidence before you go on stage,
I agree, but that's why a lot of people smoke weed because
they're not confident.
I think a lot of the drugs and alcohol they do is because they're scared to go and perform in front of somebody for 20 minutes. Maybe that's not true, but I believe it is. I think everybody is petrified, but nobody will tell you, hey, I'm petrified.
It's one of the it's one of the biggest fears, right? The first one is dying.
Right.
The second is public speaking.
But if you do it enough, the fear, it'll still be there, but you'll know how to maneuver through it.
Right.
Like you'll hit your first joke and you're like, oh, this is going to be okay. But then maybe 10 minutes later, people are, maybe you see some guy walking out and you're like, oh, fuck.
Right.
So that's a constant journey for me. I don't really know. Breathing in and out does help. I even have it on my watch, my heart rate. This guy, Kid Darby Cash, goes, when you look at that, don't you get nervous? I go, yeah. So I stopped doing that. It's like my heart rate.
Darby is great. Darby's a great guy.
And he's got a really good heart. That's why I really like him.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, you got to have him on your podcast.
We're talking about it. We got to get you on, Darby. Last week he hosted the open mic at the First Amendment bar, and he did such a great job. He is a great host. And
I just think he's a kind dude too. And that means a lot to me. Like when you're a kind individual, I think that shows on stage.
Yeah. Like Gibby, you're a great host too. I'm not discrediting you, but I'm just saying.
Who's Gibby?
Gilberto. The guy that hosted the open mic where we met.
Oh, he's a comic?
He's great.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He's a good host.
He's good.
Darby, it was a different vibe. Like it was great. It was awesome.
Right.
I think it helped. I did the audio that night. He didn't have to worry about anything. I told him, dude, don't worry about anything. Just bring the comics.
Oh, that's cool. That's nice of you.
Just bring the comics, talk to the comics, get the sign up. Don't worry about the sound. Don't worry about equipment. Let me do that for you. And it worked out good. You can, because there's a totally difference between setting up your audio and hosting it and then breaking it. It's a lot.
I know a lot.
I've done
of
it
friends,
before.
Yeah, I know a lot of friends that run rooms, and I don't like bothering them. If they reach out to me, there's certain rooms that I want to do. I will reach out to the booker. But for the most part, I let them ask me because I know they have about 10,000 people. When you wait till you run your show, you're going to have people hitting you up. You don't even know who these people are.
Dude, I can't wait for this project. It is so awesome. I can't wait to give you
Maybe
more
you'll be able to
details
handle it. I don't know. A lot of people like that John Liu guy. I love him. I know I'm talking shit about him, but he has a show called Dirty Nellies every week in Santa Ana. It's a badass. I love it. But I think his personality takes everything so personally. Like if somebody reaches out to do the show and then he's like, well, wait a minute, I haven't seen you. He has a Google Doc that you fill out where you send the video in.
Okay.
Which I think is great.
Yeah, why not?
But you don't need to take this so personally. Like if a guy is being an asshole and asking you to get booked, just go, hey man, I need to see a video and then I'll put you in the rotation. And then never text back.
Right.
But, you know, he likes to get into it. Oh, this guy's this guy's that.
Right.
It's just a waste of time.
I've gotten asked to do a show. I'm not going to name drop or the promotions, but I don't even think he listens to I don't even know if he knows I do a podcast, but he asked me, we set up a date, whatever, right? The next day I posted a reel of tagging on it was the first time that I ever did a tag for my ofrenda joke, and the tag was about Kobe.
Oh, okay.
I feel that after he's seen my tag on Kobe, he didn't want to talk to me, or he even want to touch me as a comic because of that joke. I feel that that's the reason why he hadn't reached back out to me.
It was a joke about Kobe?
It was, yeah. I mean, what did I say? I was like, I after that I never used it again because I have it tight.
You didn't kill Kobe.
No, exactly, and that was my point. And I said that it's not like I went to the helicopter store and bought a helicopter and put it on
You'll
Kobe's
run into
ofrenda.
people like that, and then listen.
That doesn't make sense.
It does to him,
right?
Like I had a Kobe joke and I don't tell it because it was about when he supposedly
SA'd a woman.
Yeah, in Colorado, and I
heard that
in a really nice fancy hotel.
Yeah,
and I said, my wife at the time would not be mad that I did that to that girl. She would be mad that it's a 5-star resort. because she couldn't take her to a Motel 6.
Right.
Right. So it just gets a lot of groans. There's certain things that you can't talk about sometimes with race or whatever. You learn how to maneuver, but nobody should judge you for it.
Right.
People have judged me for my material, and I've had some people stand up for me to get on shows. Nick Laney and certain people go, "No, John's not like that. If there is restrictions, if you have to be clean, just ask him not to do it." I'm not like 10. I'm like 50s. You could say, "Hey, Johnny, you can't talk." You know what I mean? Oh, Johnny's here. He's going to talk about rape. No. All you have to say, if it's a clean show, a show where you
That's
don't
all you have to say, right?
That's it. So this guy, I don't know who this guy is.
You don't have to not book me.
That's rude too.
Maybe I'm just speculating here. It's
So
not.
you sent him the clip to get booked on his show?
No, what it was he's been asking me to go out and do his show for a long time.
Oh, that's cool.
I told him, I was like, yeah.
It's not that show in East LA, is it?
I don't know. It's something. I'll tell you off air. Okay. But he was trying to book me in November. I told him, dude, I have podcasts that I do. I do events. I'm an event coordinator. I do a lot of stuff, bro. So if you want to book me for a show, let's talk about it next year, because I'm booked till February just with the podcast and different projects, right? So maybe that was just like I'm not begging him to be on the show or whatever, or vice versa. But then when we were finally nailing down a date, he gave me the date and I asked him for all the information.
Oh.
There was no information, but it was just weird timing, right?
So he wanted to see a clip from you before he booked you.
I post clips all the time.
Oh, okay.
Now I don't. Now I don't because of that specific reason.
I like to see the joke. It sounds like it's a good one.
It's a really good. It was a tag that Amber was there. It was a tag that I've never used before.
Right.
And it was just, I doubled down on
the joke.
On the joke.
Yeah. Oh God.
And then plus it was kind of personal I tried it out in Fullerton. The first joke.
What show in Fullerton?
At the Continental Room.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was a good room.
They had a Continental Room out here on Route 66.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Huh.
But anyway, so the guy just...
I don't know. I'm thinking...
Do you ever run into the guy again?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, over social media, yeah, but nothing crazy.
I guess he was a big Kobe fan. Like, he played pro ball. Did he?
Maybe.
Maybe he slept with Kobe. That was my lover, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, it was...
You didn't pull an Ari Shaffir.
No, it's not like
sick.
I barely seen it yesterday, what he said.
He's an idiot. He just did that for clicks, but I guess he does that all the time.
That was like hours after, too,
But
right?
I guess he does it all the time. I didn't know. I don't follow that dude.
He posted something about MLK. No, it wasn't about MLK. Mm-hmm. On Monday, he posted like a flyer for his tour, and it was like him, like with the shirt off, and Martin Luther King in the back of him without his shirt off, and like hugging him on MLK. It was.
That's
he's
weird. Like a not shock comedy, but he's been doing that for 25 years. So,
do you follow Hans Kim?
I don't think come on, it's not my type of thing.
No.
Do
you watch? Do you ever watch Kill Tony?
Yeah, I did. I was on it twice.
Really?
Yeah, I bombed once and I did good once. I did the one. The only reason I got on this one was because Anthony Jeselnik was a judge, and people just dropped out because they didn't want him to. So I was like, oh, I might get pulled because there's like 100 people. This guy's not here. This guy. Okay. How about
shit.
So I got up there and did it. He was high as a motherfucker, Anthony Jeselnik. He was just, he really didn't say anything. Ari Shaffir was one of the judges too.
Really?
He goes, oh, another Jew, Johnny Gold. I'm like, God, this guy's an idiot. And I did good. I bombed on the one with Ian Edwards and this other gentleman. But it's a very hard thing to do for 1 minute.
I gotta go back.
The band. Oh, you did it too.
No, I have to go back on the episodes, but now that they're in Texas, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, of course.
You did it when they were at the Comedy Store in the Belly Room.
Belly Room. And then I mean, man, it's pretty intimidating. You got a
Is it?
band here, you got this over here, you got the judges, you got a minute. I don't know. I think it's out of my. I mean, the Hans Kim, he's got it down.
Yeah.
Because he's been doing it for like several years.
Right.
I'm not a fan of his comedy. It just seems to be kind of stupid. You know, to me.
Right.
But I mean, I'm not a young Asian man.
Right.
You know, I'll be honest with you. I'm really not a fan of a lot of Asian comics like hang on to the Asian part.
Right.
I just not a. We might want to stop the podcast. I mean, there's some Asian comics out there that you want them to die.
Jeez.
Because they're really just.
It's that bad?
Well, they're just like it's so stereotypical.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's like any ethnic group. I mean, I grew up, I worked with Latinos in my business for 27 years. I never really saw too much stereotypical behavior because we were trying to make money together.
Right.
So they would never say, "Oh, this is a white man," and I would never go, "This is a Mexican." I don't give a shit. But when I see an Asian comic, I'm Asian. Well, no shit. We can see you. You've got your eyes. You've got your hair. I mean, I just can't take it.
Yeah.
So that's probably a good time to end the podcast. Johnny Gold
We're
doesn't
like, thank you.
Wait. I want to go back and did you find anything on Joe Coy's Golden Globe?
He does a Taylor Swift joke. It's so stupid.
Is it?
It was look. I'll say it for you. It was pretty much in the realm of like saying because you know her boyfriend's in the NFL, so I guess every time she goes to his games, they're always putting the camera on her. So they're always like, "Oh, Taylor Swift. Oh, what is she wearing? What is this? What is that?" So they're pretty much saying like that's what football has become now is like Taylor Swift. So he was saying like, "Oh, don't feel bad. Like the Golden Globes will have less shots of Taylor Swift than the NFL."
And yeah.
And then her face was like, ugh, like she
bad.
rolled her eyes and everything. Like she was mad that happened.
Yeah, and then on Twitter, Joe Coy just got it horribly.
Which I think it's so dumb.
He doesn't care. Those people that follow Taylor Swift are like retarded and 15 years old. Who cares?
Right.
Yeah, I think it's dumb. But I think also the room was hard for him because they weren't there to be with the comedian. I mean, to see a comedian or, you know, laugh. They were there for awards.
I don't think those people can laugh. You really gotta, even the good ones don't make them laugh.
Yeah.
But he said it better than that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. He didn't say much better than that. He was really nervous. He stumbled over. Then he told the audience, he goes, the jokes I wrote, you're laughing at. The other jokes that the other writers wrote, you're not laughing
He
at.
said that?
That was the biggest mistake.
Oh, I didn't know
And he
that.
apologized in the New York Times for it. It was on Instagram. I read it. He goes, I shouldn't have thrown that was stupid because he wasn't doing that bad. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
It was passable. All you're going to do is, okay, next up, Jared Leto, supporting actor. Then you go shut up and sit down. He was only out there for like 6 minutes. I don't know. He probably got paid about $20,000. I'd do it.
He was out there being an octopus, pointing out, trying to deflect.
There's Kevin Costner.
Right.
There's a pillow. There's a drink.
But I'm saying, like, after when he got a bad review on the whole thing, he started pointing out all these different
No, he
scenarios.
did that while he was on stage.
Yeah, well,
Oh.
That's like the worst.
Whoa.
That would be like if you were performing at Carnegie Hall
Right.
and then you said, hey, listen, I'm Johnny Gold, okay?
Right.
My brother wrote these jokes.
Right.
And they're like, I paid, just to get in that place. I've been to that hotel where they have the Golden Globes a bunch of
Right.
times. Just to get there, park and everything is like $100.
Right.
They get it for free. Then if you go and have a drink, I've had drinks there, you can leave spending $500 like
Right.
that.
Or you can say at the end of your set, you can say, if you like my set, my name is Johnny Gold. But if you
Right.
don't like my set, my name is Carlos Medrano.
I like it.
Right.
Let's end the podcast on that.
All right, Johnny. Carlos, you got to come back, dude, and do the podcast.
Oh, we could do it together.
Yeah.
And we can break down Carlos Madrona's comedy, which would take about 30 seconds. Just kidding. Just kidding. My social media is Johnny Gold 777.
Johnny, thanks for coming out and doing this, man.
This is an awesome podcast. Fuck the Comedy Bureau.
You have anything to plug in?
No.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Amber, do you have anything? Oh, yeah, go for it.
No.
No? Well, we're still live, so.
Oh, we're still
What's
alive.
to live my life? If you're listening to this, check us out on Instagram at The Mind Buzz and follow me at Gilbilly Delic. I have some cool stuff going on. Nick Laney, dude, if you're interested in starting the podcast, hit me up. Let's get this going. Carlos Medrano, bro, I love you. Come out. Let's do another podcast. The Comedy Chateau, I will be there. Hopefully again after this. Let's see.
Yeah, it's
What else do we got?
fun.
Fucking Johnny, dude.
That's all we got. You never know what you're gonna get here on the Mind Buzz.
You never know what you're gonna get.
We never know what we're gonna get.
We never know
But this was great.
what's gonna happen here. Mark your calendars. February 23rd, Friday night in the city of Paramount. We have something very special for you, the listener, the watcher, the supporter, the comedy fan, the podcast fan. And if you're just a fan of Amber, we have something for you
Oh my god.
in the city of Paramount. It's going to be great. There's going to be comedy. There's going to be a live podcast. There's going to be a comedy showcase. It's going to be amazing. The event of the year. There's going to be alcohol. There's going to be beer. There's going to be wine. There's going to be food. There's going to be people. It's going to be amazing. Come check it out. Booyah. That's how you do it.
Mind Buzz. Podcast.
Carlos Medrano, what's up? Come back, dude. I love you, man.